Trees are beautiful, and your paintings of them should be as well. Hey everyone, Kyle from World Tinkerer here, and today we're going to explore 5 steps to create beautiful trees. Let's jump in. Step 1. Find a reference. Pick a tree, any tree. This will be for reference only, and we're not going to make the exact tree, we're going to emulate the idea of that tree. So before you go off and try and find your absolute favorite tree ever, I highly recommend you just search for a tree, maybe refine the search a little bit more to get something that you would want, and then without scrolling down too far, just pick one from the immediate list that kind of fits your fancy and go with that. Step 2, create a silhouette. So first things first, we're going to create a silhouette of this tree using some very base colors. I do this in 2 layers, one for the trunk and branches, and then another for the foliage, just to kind of keep things separate. So for the colors, we want to choose a good middle ground in terms of both value and saturation. Now you'll notice that the current background that I have is kind of a mid-tone gray, and this is on purpose because if we go with something like a white, oftentimes we'll usually pick colors that are too bright in their value. So going with a mid-tone gray can help you kind of pull that back to something that's a little more usable later on when you might need some of those higher value colors later for things like highlights. So going from that, after we've kind of got that, you'll see I'm kind of going around the edges creating this silhouette. So I got some base rough ideas going on, but I didn't really spend a whole lot of time trying to be accurate. Again, we only using our photo for a reference. Here, I'm just kind of going in roughing in some things with a very simple round brush. Nothing fancy, very basic. I'm going in to erase certain sections of it and then going back over it with the brush in order to create the silhouette of leaves in the foliage there. I do kind of a similar thing for the trunk and branch. Where I kind of just imply the structure of it and then move on, so I don't spend too much time with that. All right, so for step 3, dabbing, contrasting color, we need to add some variation to our tree. So we're going to pick a light and dark color from our base color and then simply dab them in. So I start this out by creating a new layer, setting it to clipping mask so it takes advantage of the silhouette from below and keeps everything in line. Now you notice I'm just dabbing in the darker color, kind of hodgepodge, very uniform, not really paying attention. But when I switch to the lighter color, I am paying attention. I'm looking for where is the light coming from in this tree. In this case, it's kind of the top right-hand corner. And I'm painting over it and just dabbing in. I'm also paying attention to not let the brush drag any, so that way we keep kind of some nice noise going on. So once this is done, we're ready for our next step, creating another layer of the silhouette and merging it into our dab colors. And the reason is because in step 4, we're going to mix this. And Photoshop has a nice mixing brush built it right into it. And we're just going to go through and just kind of do a quick blend and mix everything together here. So that way in step 5, we can, which is emphasizing lighting, we can then just paint right on top of that. Again, using kind of our dabbing technique where we will go back through, we'll reinforce our highlights because we're emphasizing that lighting. And then we will also create some more midtones with that highlight as well. It felt too abrasive at the start, so I eventually switched to a slightly darker but still light color and went back through and did the same thing again. So again, this emphasizing lighting, this is what actually kind of punches things through, makes it feel alive, that contrast coming through. So again, I used clipping matches for all of these as well on top of this. So just going in, reinforcing, I picked another darker color to reinforce the shadows of it and to give kind of a leaf-like noise to it. Again, we're just implying these details. We're not actually drawing any leaves. So the next piece is for emphasizing light, is I go and create another couple layers, but I lower their opacity. I choose kind of a dark blue value to emphasize some shadows. And then I do the same thing for some light. I choose kind of a very bright orange color and just kind of go over it. Again, punching up that contrast even further. From here, basically it's just repeating those same 5 steps for the trunk of the tree. Now you notice I just painted over the leaves first. I didn't even bother with painting the trunk because most of the tree is obscuring the trunk. And so you can just kind of leave it to the end and then paint over the part that's actually showing using those same 5 steps mentioned previously. Now for some additional flair, I went through and added some grass and other items in the background, and I'll kind of let those play out here in the end. But again, it doesn't take a whole lot to kind of represent an idea of something that you want to paint, whether it's a tree or a rock, grass, a whole field, whole forest, but just kind of breaking it down to small, simple steps that you can use and repeat over and over again for anything. In this instance, we did it for a tree because I happen to like trees. They always inspire me to want to create and make awesome things. Now for bonus points, I threw in kind of a quick background here just to kind of set the stage. Again, using that mixing brush to kind of pull some very basic colorations in and just kind of blend it together. So from here, I'm just gonna let the video play out, and then we'll wrap up at the end. All right, if you found this video helpful or simply enjoyed it, please give a like and consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any ideas on simplified tutorials, leave a comment below. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.